Hey guys, beloved Ascension pioneers, welcome to another one of my nature spontaneous random videos. I just had the most amazing run in the snowed valley. It doesn't really look snowy here, I know, but the valley towards the mountains is full of snow and kind of melting snow and puddles of water, so I'm all wet because I didn't wear the right shoes. I should have worn the waterproof ones. So I was just enjoying this day so much because today we have, well, next day in the morning where I live, but we have the full moon in Cancer, and it's this beautiful flow of energy, like completing a cycle of emotion, of feeling, of sensing, so profounding the feeling side of life. And today, when I was just enjoying this spontaneous flow of energy and running there, I just, I ran towards this mountain valley, my favorite mountain valley. It was all full of snow there, and it was just kind of like a challenge because it was an uphill run a bit. And, I love challenges because that's what gets me to the next point and to the next point, because there's a constant expansion, and I physically want to live that way as well, and I do. So then I reached this point, this elevated point where there's a mountain surpass road there. And actually, when it really snows, there's a heavy probability of avalanches, so it's not really always open for cars. And then I crossed that, and I was running down from there and made a circle. It was just amazing, and I feel so good. I'm actually all wet because it kept dripping from the trees, but I took another jacket to put it over the one below, so I'm kind of sweaty and stinky, but I kind of prepared except for the wet shoes. So why I love doing these nature spontaneous videos so much is because when I run, I get a lot of inflow of things that I can say and share, the awareness that comes true. And what I want to talk about today is really living in the light, so feeding ourselves with the light on all levels. And I want to kind of make this video on stages, getting from the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, and the physical level of how we can address this. Because this week I received a beautiful newsletter from two beautiful beings who went out to the desert to explore their beingness and to become the embodiment of their teachings from Pleiadian mysteries of light. So this is what we're doing, and in nature it's such a profound experience, and that's why I share my experience, not to just share how I live, but to show you how we actually can feel and how we can radiate when we do this sacred alchemy outside in nature, outdoors, really feeling the connection. Because my favorite valley there where I went is amazing in the summer, it's full of sun. In the winter, not so much, because the winter valleys are quite cold. But it just has this amazing energy because you stand before all these mountain balls and you just look at them in awe and inspiration and magic. And whenever I come there, if I'm alone, I just do like this. And I just say, mountains, speak to me, transmit everything that my body needs to transmit and emit and radiate and share out right now at this space and time. So when I'm out in nature, so much comes through, and then I can share it with all of you. And that rhymes. So you see, whenever I'm out there, I'm just so hyper. I'm talking to myself. I'm so uplifted. And then I bring that down to the valley. I bring it, I share it, and that's what service is all about. It's sharing what we receive. It's sharing our own ways of how to get there, our tools, our resources, and putting it out there into the collective so everybody can benefit as a whole. So today I want to address the topic of how sacred our living space is becoming and how we are aware of co-creating our realities. And the video before this one, I spoke about self-mastery through letting go, through full awareness and surrender, and through the triggers that come that show us that, the work that still needs to be integrated. And the next step after releasing that control, which comes to that one thing that is common denominator to all of this, is resistance. So the next step, after we stop resisting, when we embrace the flow, the next step is always, when you deal with the old, when you really stop that, when you really kind of transcend that, the next stage will always be, okay, so what next? I've reached this level, so I'm just going to be here and just be and, not do anything. The next level is learning how to co-create. How to co-create everything. This is what I feel this full moon in the feeling side of life is it's this message, because When I woke up today, twice I received a message about the base chakra, so our root chakra. Everything has to deal with our root. So when we want to manifest things in the physical, when we want to create our realities, we cannot do it until our root is fully transparent. It's translucent. So the color actually of our I am presence descending is red mixed with translucent. So kind of, you know, that translucent energy. So clear energy, clear color together with red is the descent of the I am presence and the embodiment of the spirit that we are. So we do that in levels, and where we integrate the higher awareness in the space for higher frequency in our chakras. And when we get down to the base, that is when we can start manifest. So I've been describing this ascension process in my old videos a lot, you know, how we go up there, how we move to the causal and our soul star chakra and to the source self, and then bring that and start bringing that into every aspect of our being. So when we reach our root, that is when we're going to learn to become masters of our reality. So when we can control ourselves, that means not control, you know, like you limit yourself, not control in that sense. It means control, create kind of control. You have the only being who has the power of how you will create. And this means transcending the excuses which comes through beliefs of what you can do. So this is what I'm going to be addressing today on all levels. Like I said, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. The physical is when things can start really show in the physical reality. So when your base chakra is clear, when it is fully open to that divine light, you will become a miracle master manifester, so to say, because you will create to the higher aspects of your being, so your higher self. And this is so important on our journey because, like I said, when we reach the level of letting that flow, when we're in the flow of the divine, then the next step will always be, okay, so what do we create with it? Now we're aware that we're master beings. We are co-creator gods in our own becoming. Like I said, we're Christ in action, we're Christ in becoming, in practice. And then the next step will always be how to use this, how to learn, you know, so not always depend on external guidance, like, oh, angel guides, you know, help me do this, but really see that it's us. And we will never step in our power before we really see that. And before we really step into that power and say, yes, I'm claiming it. I'm gonna start creating as a co-creator being through conscious awareness. So let's get down to business. What I want to share is that this newsletter that came to me through these beings spoke about the responsibility in every aspect of our being. So a lot of times we don't realize that being responsible for our actions will always come from, you know, what we think, and then what we feel, and then how it will be mirrored through our actions, the response that will be shown through our actions. The base, how we live, the mirror, the surroundings will always show where you are in awareness. So how much you have this integrated, because a lot of beings are aware, they have remembered, they do know, but they haven't yet stepped to their full power potential of becoming that in the physical. So they might have a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom, but they still have maybe dramas with their families, or their surroundings still doesn't fully mirror them. They're internal, okay? And what they do a lot of times, in that state, they think others can do it, but they can do it, and there must be reason for it. So those beliefs come into play, and they kind of step out of that power and start defending where they are through beliefs. Like, yeah, but this is how it is with me. You know, I'm different. No, everybody's the same. Everybody has the same potential to be creating the kind of reality we want, and it's not a fated outcome. It never was. Okay, so let's start that. Let's start at the beginning. Like I said, those two people really expressed this beautifully when they said, one thing is to be responsible in nature, not to litter, not to trash. I even pick up trash from others. That's kind of like my contribution when I'm guided so. But are we aware of how we litter and how we mess things sometimes, make them messy through our thoughts and through what we feel? We might say, oh, everything is beautiful and pretty, but we still harbor emotions that are negative, that are causing us to not really, we surrender to them, we give in to them. This is something I've been addressing in my previous video. So then we defend this, and we don't want to fully address this and really be responsible for it, and then choosing a new choice. So everything begins with spirit. As you know, we're all spirit beings, and then we start to densify. Everything in spirit is pure consciousness. A lot of people confuse that consciousness. They say this is the state of mind. It's not the state of mind. Well, you can say divine intelligence, that divine intelligence, not the lower mind that we use for thinking in our brain activity, but the divine consciousness. Everything is consciousness. So then the materialization process of how we become in this form, it's a process. So the same way that we created these body vehicles, and that the planet helps us with creating these body vehicles and giving us form, the same way we will create inner physical realities with form. So I feel that especially beyond 2015, this is when we will really start coming into the phase of becoming masters of materialization. This is what we're walking through, because we're not just here to become that light, but of course when you see your reality, you don't always like what is reflected. We want to create something else. So this is where the learning of being co-creator gods begins. You know, the souls who have remembered and then want to live in that remembrance full time on all levels. So when you come to denser levels of your experience, you will see that in this reality where we are now, everything will begin with the thought. And how you think will mirror you, and it will show this. So let's start at the beginning by decluttering our thoughts. I want to pose some questions here. And a lot of us working with the element of light of truth, showing the way for others, being pioneers, a lot of times we were dealing with energies of others who weren't really focused on this path. And last week, during the weekend, I saw this video when the woman was talking about this, and she said how many time and energy she gave off to those people who weren't even interested in this process of doing inner integration work, you know, becoming divine embodied. And she said she was giving away so much free material and everything, and she realized how much, you know, not everything is meant to be shared with everybody who doesn't come to you for that assistance, who doesn't yearn for it, who's not devoted to it, who's not into becoming the master of the self, and wants to grow and expand constantly. So she said she wants to work with those who want to be devoted to this, and the same goes for me, you know. So how many times we're giving our focus without those full spirit boundaries? That means discernment, not, you know, boundaries in a way just physical, but the boundaries of knowing when your time will be in a higher purpose, in a higher service, and when it will just be meaningless. Maybe you'll fall into an argument with somebody else, or you're giving your energy to somebody who wants just attention. And I've been addressing this in my videos a lot. If you've been following what I've been sharing, you know that. So how many times you still give your energy to something that just clearly didn't show any results? And how many times, like I said, your thoughts are still focused on the projections to others and their stories and what they do. And, you know, for example, will I hurt them if I start, you know, walking my path in integrity? No, you can't, because when you walk your highest potential in light, you can't hurt anybody. They might feel hurt, but in the bigger picture, you're not hurting them. You're showing an example. And this is why you came here. So when we're clearing our thoughts, this is where it all begins. We really want to be as transparent, as pure as we are in our divine consciousness. So everything that we feel will be reflected through those thoughts. The thoughts. And now let me get to another level of those thoughts. The thoughts will reflect our body. The body is the level that, you know, we will come to last in this video. But how many times, I want to ask you this sincerely, have we said to ourselves in this journey, because we, no matter how much we know it or not, or how much we remember, we have chosen to be here at this time. And a lot of beings coming from realms and levels that are not even physical, we're light beings, you know, we're one. And we know that oneness and we remember it, but how many times when we came here we forgot that we chose this, and we won't transcend this experience because, let's face it, we need to do the same work as everybody else because we've chosen to come to this level of experience, period. We're no special, you know, there's special rules applying to us here. No, it's a fairy tale. We got to walk the same path. And we know how to do it. That's the best thing. So we got to use those tools of knowing how to do it. So how many times, again, I'm going to ask you this sincerely, have you said to yourself, oh, this body is so dense, you know, I feel limited, you know. I've noticed myself sometimes saying, oh gosh, I just want to be teleported to mountains, you know. Not always, I just, you know, like in the winter, I can go, you know, to the highest peaks. there's reasons for it, actual physical reasons. And how many times you've perceived this as a limitation and said, oh gosh, this body is such a limited, part of self, and if I could just fly there or there like the bird. And for example, or how many times you said, oh, this body, or for example, I've been addressing this with my teeth sometimes because I have very sensitive teeth, and how many times you've said, oh, if only I didn't have this, or I could manifest it differently, or all these things. How many times we just said this to ourselves? And you know what? When we do that, we program our body to feel that way. So our body keeps receiving the messages because we are co-creators. We do program ourselves. As whether you believe it or not, we're the ones who created our physicality exactly as it is when we came to this earth. When we still live maybe without that awareness, it was a different body vehicle than it is now. When we're living in awareness, do you see how it's shifting? Because you're thinking differently and you're feeling differently, and your divine self is flowing through you, so your body starts changing. But still, a lot of times we're not aware of every thought. Self-mastery is about the focus of every thought. When you think it, ooh, it's okay if it's a negative thought. Don't see it as oh my gosh, I'm going to judge myself because I said a negative thought and I thought it. It doesn't help you. But as long as you're already observant of the thought that came into being, that's super. That's really super, because you're already observant. You're not doing it unconsciously. You're still thinking it maybe, but you're thinking it and you're aware of it when you're thinking it. That's going to give you the power to change what you're thinking, the awareness about it. So the conscious, compassionate, neutral observer. And how many times are we really saying those things? One example recently, because I've been talking a lot about light foods and veganism and all these things which are labels. What I want to talk about here is eating life, not death, okay? A lot of people still eat death, and when I interact with them on my page, in my community, I see that a lot of them are still focused on these belief patterns that, I'm going to show you, I'm going to say to you some of the thought forms that I've noticed with others. For example, this is recent, it was all recent. I want to be a vegan too, but I can't yet because or I can't be a vegan because I need still animal protein, Please observe the word need here, okay? Whenever we say need, that's a program. Whenever it's not coming through full openness, that everything is possible, it's a program, okay? And one more example, I want to be, but I start losing weight if I'm going into veganism, things like that. You're not aware that the moment you think that, and when you think that for a certain period of time, it gets denser and denser and denser, and it condenses into form, and your body literally responds to it. So if you think, oh, if I'm a vegan, I'm starting to lose weight, guess what? You begin to lose weight. There are physical approaches to that as well, which I will address in one of my further videos. Probably maybe I could do it next week, about this journey of shifting to light foods and to lighter frequencies that you actually, because everything you feed yourselves is energy, it's prana, it's chi. So how many times you notice yourself saying, I want this but, or I wish to be wishing, praying for the future, hoping. This is all old. How many times your thoughts begin this way? A prayer, a true prayer, is a decree of beingness. Like, I am light in body. I am receiving healing. I am the divine healing light. All of this is a true prayer. Everything else that you think is a prayer that begins with wishing, hoping, please give me this, give me that, that's not a prayer of spirit. That's a prayer of desperation and of ego that thinks that it doesn't already have the complete freedom to tune into everything and create through that, okay? So this is what I'm noticing. A lot of people wish for something, but they did defend their belief, so this is what becomes your belief. I have a lot of things in my awareness that are nothing like that, because, for example, when I went to the dentist, my previous dentist, which I now had to change because I moved, because he was, I lost a nerve in my tooth because this other bad dentist that didn't actually do anything about it because he didn't see what was happening. So the thing is that, when they do that, they say to you, yeah, the nerve is dead, this is, 50% of chances, it can get bad or infected or anything. And if you start thinking like, damn, what others are selling you as their belief, especially the medical field, then you say, okay, I'm this limited body, this is all that can happen. But I don't know if you've ever heard or read or anything stories of the people that actually grow their own teeth back or grew their own organs back. You know, there's one beautiful example in Diana Cooper's books about Atlantis, about a boy who grew up with reptiles, I think, and you know, when they lost the tail, they manifested it again. So he thought that's natural, and this is when he lost his leg, he manifested it again. He created it because he just thought of that's his only way. It's the only way. So you see, this is also hilarious when we look at it from the bigger picture, how immature we are here sometimes, like little children who think this is all we're capable of and this is all we can do. But like I said, when you stop the flow of resistance and move into this new, then the next level will always be mastering the physical realm. We are here to be masters of all realms, including the physical. So it's not just enough to be these beautiful spirit beings, you know, I'm love, I'm light. But then your physical reality won't mirror that. You'll say, why am I still experiencing challenges? I'm a light worker, you know, for heaven's sake. This is what people do. This is what they say to themselves. And they think that way, and they instantly fall to that victim mode, which is not really co-creation mode. So we want to shift from that to co-creation mode. So whenever, like I said, whenever you're using those programs, which are programs, because whenever you say I need, and you know, this is the only way, this is a program. And a lot of people, especially when it comes to food, you know, they want to convince themselves that this is it, period. And they say, but my body reacts to it this way. You know, this is my sacred truth, period. Of course your body reacts to it because it reacts to your thinking. It reacts to what you're feeling about it. You know, if you're constantly feeling bad, your body will show it. And you say, you know, maybe you're healthy, but I still, you know, my body shows me I'm not, and I'm still, you know, thinking like you are, but are you feeling the same way? You know, two people might be thinking the same way, but one person's thoughts already are coming from the heart. This is the next level, which I'm going to talk about, the feeling side of life. The feeling will then start to produce physical realization, so materialization into form. It's the feeling. It's the feeling side of life. It doesn't have anything to do with lower emotional states. We will always be feeling beings. That's what it means to be an intelligent race of beings in the cosmos. So, our feeling will then start to create things. It will start to shape them, you know, into form, and then it will show us. So maybe you have two people, and they say, but I'm thinking the same as this person, but maybe they're doing the same decrees or starting, you know, with the same belief, reprogramming and unfolding. But one of them is already noticing results, and another one isn't. It's because maybe one of them is already starting to work with the feeling side of life. They really feel what they're saying. Maybe you might be saying, I'm this, I'm that, but you're still looking too much into physical, looking for physical evidence and proof of it, which you can't. You gotta go within. And what's the difference will be the feeling side of life will then start producing those results in the physical. So what you feel is so important. Do you feel that to be true? I can say, well, my teeth will grow back maybe if I've lost teeth, or I believe this and that, and I think things, but if I don't really feel it with my whole heart, again, I'm one step further away from that truth, you know, being a truth in reality. So getting to the next level, which is the physical form manifestation, is we sometimes forget that we are not to neglect this part of us. My body gave me a good message when I went to the dentist, because it was something about everything being okay for now, which there's still, I think I need some research about it. There's still something I feel needs to, you know, become more transparent of what it actually is happening there. But along the process, my body gave me a message, not always to be so hyper with everything, you know, sometimes be more attentive to it, more nurturing, because this is how I'm treating the physical body. So when I'm noticing a lot of people, they're saying, you know, oh, it's not just the food, it's how you feel. I'm love, so I don't need to address the physical. So they'll be eating crappy food, at the same time they'll say, I'm all love and light. So if you believe you're such beautiful love and light, and then you, at the same time, you believe that you're going to bring death into your body by eating animal corpses, which a lot of people still won't want to go deep within and see the truth that not just that it's a negative alien program, so a program from the negative, not really benevolent ET beings that came to Earth like 1,000 years ago and wanted humanity to stay at a certain level of lower density. So, you know, they had their own agenda. But at the same time, it's also, besides that, it's also really not responsible for yourself to keep believing in life, but feeding yourself with that at the same time. So you believe your light, you believe your love, but at the same time, you're feeding yourself death. So see how you're not in integrity with your actions. I will address those things as they concern the vegan journey and the raw journey and all of those things. And one of those videos will be especially about that topic, because I don't want to freeze here today because I'm already all wet. But I think this is a very complex topic that a lot of what with my research and my insight into those people who share about this journey is there's just not a lot of people approach this with true awareness, so applying it on all levels of the being. But let me just tell you that everything that I can share is my own experience of it. Because when I saw the movie Food Incorporated, which was years ago, I just instantly knew through my soul, without a doubt, oh, look at the birdie. He came to the water to bathe. Oh, so cute. Aww, gave us a message. Oh, you can't see it, so sorry. So beautiful. Ah. And I saw a deer before. Just she ran like crazy up in the hills. It was like, wow. When I was standing up in the elevated point, I was observing the view, so it was amazing. Anyway, when I saw that movie, I instantly, with all of my heart, I knew, oh, I won't be eating death, no. And this is when my journey began. And my journey began very physically, went up spiritually, and then it returns to the physical. This is how it's meant to be. And I just knew, you know, it came through spirit. It didn't come through anybody telling me what to do or preaching me or anything. It came through me. So spirit can only show you those truths, and when you get high understanding, but you need to be open to it. If you have a closed mindset and you're full of those beliefs, you won't transcend, because you keep programming yourself this way. And it's going to be very hard to unprogram and begin this journey of freedom, of life, of true life, you know, without any death into it. You know, it's the same way with believing death. Why we die? Because we believe we die. If we live a certain amount of years, then we die. You know, in ancient Atlantis, in the golden ages, they lived for thousands of years, those who knew how to work with that level of light, of awareness. And they knew that as long as their journey needs to sustain them, to be sustained, they will be there. You know, so when they will live their journey, they will be sustained. Their body vehicles will be sustained. And the more light, the more open you are, the more light can flow through you, and the more light that flows through you, through your channels, the more you're sustaining and feeding yourselves with your own light, with your own source light. And this is how we were first created, as beings of source light. And additional food that we're putting into, like additional external prana, came after the fall. So we're moving back there again, but how will you move back there to that original prime state of your light beingness, of your life force, if you still have full of those beliefs? I can't because it won't just miraculously happen. So I want to share my part here with you, is that in that level, that was years ago, but I went to a bioresonance expert back then because I had a few allergies, and this is what actually started triggering my journey. And then I had the Atlas alignment, you know, the last what's it called, vertebrae here. And everything started just to propel me forward from then on. And it was all me. I knew those things. And I remember during that process, I also lost a lot of weight. But it wasn't because of food. It wasn't because of anything external. It was because so much of the toxins were going out. And this sometimes takes the body to have, to need a lot of energy. So the energy will go into that process. But I completely embraced it. I knew with all my heart I wouldn't just eat something just because so that I look good and all muscly and all of that. It's just a total superficial thing. And I didn't. I was devoted. I was completely devoted to that. I didn't care. And if you're patient, if you believe that everything that you think and you feel takes time to then integrate in the physical, to show its results in the physical, only your patience and your trust will be rewarded. And this is how it was for me. I even have more muscles than I did before. And I don't even eat that much food, you know. And this can only be shared through experience. You know, nobody can give you the answer. It needs to come through you. But the actual physical results, the physical first you need to believe it, so it means you need to change your thoughts. Then you need to really feel it. Like I said, well, I forgot the first basic step, which is first it needs to be a spirit knowing. Then you need to think it. Then you will feel it, and it will become really informed. So I can just show you through my own example. I'm in great shape, as you can see me running through the mountains, dancing, whatever, you know, just exercising, doing stuff always, and I have so much energy. And when you say, well, I want that too, but at this moment I can't, look at what you're doing. You're basically, what you're saying is, I'm not a co-creator being. Well, she is. Look at her. Wow. You know, no, I'm nothing special. I just chose this. I knew it. Spirit showed me, and I just knew it. And then I thought it, and then I feel it, and then I become it. So, okay, guys, this is really important, okay? Anyway, we got to take the responsibility for all those levels, incorporate them, they're all one. And like I said, maybe next week I will make a video about this food journey, and I will be sharing my own recipes about this, because I can only share my path. Yours will be different, but like I said, it begins with taking responsibility for all those levels. So observe how you're thinking, observe how you're feeling, observe what you believe about your physical vehicle. Your body is so sacred, and we need to, if we want to really live as ascended beings in ascended bodies, we gotta support those bodies, you know, with our input, which begins as consciousness. So consciousness is attained through observing, through awareness, and this is what our path is all about. So if you're an Ascension Pioneer, you totally know what I'm talking about, and I really encourage you, I really support you, I understand you. I know that sometimes it's not easy, but beliefs they just keep us in the stagnant field, and they won't really help us to expand. So it's time to start breaking them apart one after one, you know, like the molecules, and so that everything is like one big bang of expansion. And this is the next step. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna go home. I'm getting cold. I'll talk to you guys soon, and this is my contribution for all of you. May it assist you in some way or another, and take care. I love you so much. Bye. And one last view. Oh, look at all the water. Feel yourself purified and cleansed. Just immerse yourself in the beautiful surrounding space of this little corner of Gaia, and whichever corner of Gaia you're at this time. And full moon blessings to all of you guys. Take care.